Welcome back, everybody. You got Will and I Man here from the Block Runner, MetaZone, and Rovi, and today we're going to be talking about Trac.
I think we have Oh man,
Sorry. We've spoken about Trac.
Yeah. Well, whenever we were doing our deep dive BRC-20 analysis, right?
Yeah.
After the first hype wave kind of died down and we hit that $1 billion market euphoric moment.
We did mention it, and we never got deep into Trac though. I don't think.
Not deep enough, but we acknowledge that we're in like an infrastructure building period for not just the overall, for the whole Ordinals ecosystem, BRC-20 specifically, but now it's like, now that we have bitmaps, also for bitmap, it's like we're post blockout. Now what? Well, now infrastructure time.
Yeah.
Right. And turns out Trac is playing a huge role in that.
Yeah.
How huge is kind of like what we want to explore and like help you guys understand.
Yeah, it's so huge that for many of the Ordinals projects, it would not be possible without something like Trac.
Yeah, and the reason why we could say that is because we are building one of those Ordinals, and more specifically a bitmap-focused platform, right? So,
Did you know that we're more than just a YouTube channel? We also built MetaZone, the first app store for the metaverse. Buy, sell, and explore a new class of digital assets like our flagship game Rovi.ai. Support us by collecting your digital assets through MetaZone at metazone.io. Like, comment, and subscribe to stay updated. All right, back to the video.
We're sitting here every single day, kicking around like ideas of how to do things, and we're like,
should we become an indexer? I was like, no, that's not our business.
Yeah, we can't. Fuck that, dude.
Yeah,
we don't want to do that. We want to rely on index providers.
That's right.
Right, and why? Because that's the whole Ethereum ecosystem has been built that way.
That's right.
So I think it's a safe assumption the Ordinals ecosystem will follow suit. So who is going to become that provisioner? Well, right now it looks like Trac, right?
Yeah, so Trac is an indexer. It's a completely decentralized indexer where what they do is they track, hence the name.
What a name.
They track the most valid of data, and it makes it easy for any developer to query that data and get that information on a website that shows, hey, I'm looking at a bitmap, and because it has a little check mark means that this is a valid bitmap. It's not inscribed in the future. It's not a second inscription.
Yeah, you don't have to like assign or like pre-program like a private key or like a passphrase or something on chain that only you know. It's like somehow you have to like generate a new inscription every time you're trying to like verify like stuff like that. There's been attempts to really finagle the hell out of all this. Yeah, it's like minus an indexer. Like without an indexer, it becomes much more complicated, right?
Yeah, I've tried to come up with like something like that, and you just can't. You can't do it.
You could, but it just introduces like so many more layers of friction, right?
Yeah.
Which you don't want to do that if you're building something, right? So, yeah, indexing is historically is a good solution to all this, and the best way to go about doing this is to roll out some type of decentralized ecosystem of indexers, right? So. So that's where Trac's headed.
Yeah, so we're going to compare Trac with what the counterparts that exist on Ethereum, how big they are, how important they are.
Correct.
But first, let's take a look at their website. So it says decentralized meta protocol tracking for Bitcoin Ordinals. So enable BRC-20 tracking and more. Enjoy new kinds of dApps for Bitcoin. It's coming soon. So I'm pretty sure that they're working on updating this website, and they have a couple of demos, and we tried one here. So we looked up the latest 94.bitmap got sold. We looked up the inscription number. We typed it in here, and it came up with 94.bitmap. And it'll take you to the Ordinals Explorer, and we'll show you this. And so now it shows you all the data you need. And what this indexer does is it collects all this information, makes it queryable in case a project needs to show you this stuff and like an easier user interface on your website.
Yeah.
So that's that, and let's take a look at, we have that. Let's take a look at this. So Trac and the base infrastructure developer needs BRC-20, so it's a decentralized data for collections and traits, full new website coming. Trac public release so developers can join the network, self-host, and create. So this piqued my interest. Yeah. I was like, create? Yeah. I was like, that sounds like The Graph.
What are they creating over there at The Graph? Relay this knowledge, dude. Okay. Some of us have no clue how that shit works.
Without Trac, without The Graph, every developer out there trying to make stuff on blockchain and like dApps and all that, if they didn't have these tools and protocols, they would have to download the entire block's data, which in the case of Bitcoin is around 500 gigs.
Okay.
And they would have to parse all that information and look for the stuff that they need and then take that stuff that they need and display it on your website.
Right.
So you're forcing developers to do something that they wouldn't otherwise do.
Yeah.
And you know, it's diverting the resources for what the product they're trying to create to like developing the infrastructure to enable that product. And so now we have Trac for Bitcoin Ordinals and we have the Graph for pretty much everything on Ethereum. And so what they do is they download the entire blockchain and then they allow developers to build, in the case of the Graph, called GraphQLs.
Or subgraphs, right?
Or subgraphs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that other developers who need, let's say, bitmap data, or they need some sort of a collection on an NFT like Decentraland.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that developers can pull that data from a decentralized network and then display whatever they want on the website.
Interesting. God damn, that sounds complicated.
Yeah.
But it has to be, right? Because we're talking about like deep fundamental like data analysis techniques.
Yeah, data extraction and data display.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is what I mean by like this is not sexy at all, but it's so core and fundamental. Like data is fucking everything, dude. Like you can't do anything of value without, I guess, like the extraction and interpretation, and therefore like deriving new forms of value from this data, right? And dude, fuck, we have like so many ideas.
Yeah.
Like we've been talking about it in our previous videos, how bitmap doesn't necessarily have to be like this only confined to this like widely understood like a 3D spatial environment standard, right? And that's just like the first attempt at, you know, discovering some value to a bitmap. But when you actually look at what a bitmap is, it's data.
That's right.
It's data owned, you know, associated with Bitcoin blockchain's history. So you can do a lot with that as long as these indexers are able to like keep track of, you know, where all the data is what lies and stuff, and you can create whole new, you know, derivative products from that.
That's right. That's right.
That's what I'm kind of expecting to happen, but can't be done unless there's like a widespread adoption of this kind of stuff. You know?
Yeah, and this create feature is so important because otherwise Benny, the dev, would have to create all the tracking code for every single project, and he can't do that. It's not scalable. And
correct.
It's not scalable for the Graph either. So they develop a standard, an SDK, so that anyone can come in and say, hey, I need specific data. Or as a matter of fact, I'm making a project, let's say Bitmap, and the community is going to need, you know, who owns what, when they own it, block and height, all that information. So I'm going to build this GraphQL, if you will, version for Trac. And I'm going to allow this function, this data, to be queryable by anybody.
Okay.
So Mscribe and all these platforms building on top of Bitmap go and query that data, that GraphQL, and extract that information that they need. And so this is how Trac scales, is this create feature.
So let's just skip forward to now that we're on the topic, let's take a look at how the Graph does it. Like you got a Graph's landing page, it's nice and neatly presented. You know,
access the world's blockchain data, dude.
That's pretty hot. It's pretty hot. Something I really want to access, I guess. But there's something specific here, right? Where they break down like the ecosystem actors.
Yeah. So here are the actors, but let's talk about this first. So this is how it works, right? So create a subgraph to organize smart contract data or use an existing one, right? This is the developer stuff.
And remember, this is on ETH, so
this is on
smart
ETH.
Contracts is not, you know, the thing that's being addressed here, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, so once developers make this stuff, now any other developer can query the GraphQL. And then, obviously, once you query it, then you're serving it in like an easy-to-read format.
Correct.
Right? So that's it. That's what it is. That's what it does.
Yeah.
But Graph is so interesting that they've decentralized so much of this that they have several actors in the ecosystem. They have the consumer, which is like an Mscribe. Developer like an Mscribe, kind of, where we're gonna be developing like these indexing like functions
that other, you know,
other people can
platforms.
exactly other ecosystem can use. We have the indexer, right? So these are like big data centers, like hosting the data and making it quickly accessible. We have the delegator who's buying the graph tokens and like delegating to an indexer.
So that's what's interesting. Like, and we're starting to see the utility of the graph token itself, right? And let's not forget, Trac is a BRC-20 token.
That's right.
It's circulating out there. There is a market. There is a market cap for this thing.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so interesting, right? It's like, damn, are we really going to have like a utility space on Ordinals?
Yeah,
like, for like fungible tokens is like, as of right now, not really. But I mean, we're seeing like a primitive emerge that can totally leverage a BRC-20 token as like an ecosystem facilitator, right? That's the utility of the token itself. Without it, all these different actors within the ecosystem would not have, participation alignment. They wouldn't. What the fuck? Why am I going to spend my time securing the network?
Yeah, exactly,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
And then finally, we have the curator. So imagine you and I are developers and we're creating these GraphQLs, right? So that people can query. But you suck as a developer.
Which I do.
The curator is going to determine which ones are like actually good, like tools for the community to use and which tools the community is actually leveraging.
Yeah.
If you and I are competing for that data in terms of the GraphQL and everyone's querying my information because they're actually getting accurate data or it's better, efficient, all that stuff, the curator is going to forget you, right? Yeah. And it's going to start curating and pushing mine up.
Yeah, in the same sense, like that's basically what like the Google algorithms do, right? Like they parses all the different like
quality information tends to go up.
Yeah, in relation to like a certain like string of search, like text in a search file or whatever. Yeah. Basically a query.
Right. Right.
Very interesting, dude.
So what are we talking? Why are we talking about the graph in the context of Trac? It's like there's potential. We don't know for sure. Yeah. That it could be an ecosystem equivalent to the graph.
Right. So then, why is that of relevance? I guess, I don't know. If you're a speculator, let's see the market cap of the graph. How much is that thing worth?
Okay. The market cap is 1.2 billion.
All right. And this is, remember, peak bear market valuation.
Yeah.
And from Will's interpretation, severely undervalued, right? Just based on what it is, how much it's supporting.
Yeah. Developers can't do their work without this stuff. They can't do it, right? Otherwise, they would have to do it themselves and then more resources,
I mean, this is huge. This is as infrastructure as it gets, like in Web3. So this is like one of those components that won't go away anytime soon, no matter what. Otherwise, like the whole damn system kind of like falls apart. So this is tremendous considering Trac. If you go see that it's BRC-20 token valuation, we're talking like 2 to 5 million.
What's the website?
Market cap space. I mean, you could look up, I don't know, ordspace.org or something.
Okay, ordspace.
Let's just take a look quickly, see if we can even find Trac on this list. I'm sure we can. There she is, nice and pink.
2.59
million, dude.
Million.
Not million, million, dude. This is a baby. Well, all BRC-20s are, but if we're talking about understanding the potential of like how much this is going to theoretically support, and we're already seeing adoption happen, right? Bitmap, Ord Games just announced it, we're here telling you now, us Mscribe's future platform that will do a lot.
Yeah,
it's provide a lot of functionality and service into the Bitmap ecosystem.
Yeah,
we're going to be leveraging it too, right?
Yeah, and so Benny was also part of a discussion with DeFi Discussions, and we're going to listen to this. We haven't listened to this yet, but we noticed that they did an interview just like yesterday. It's like one day ago.
Yeah.
So, all the links will be in the description. I think we talked about everything, the graph, the potential. Definitely not financial advice in any sense. This is more like discussing the value of what exists today, like the graph, and what is being built on Bitcoin. Very, very similar to the graph and like its potential.
Right. And then also to like the grand takeaway is just understand this is the next step, I guess, for us Bitmappers specifically is a lot of us are waiting around for this.
For the graph.
Graph. Right. For this solution, whether it's the Trac or something else. Yeah. Something has to be established as far as like, I guess, like a standard indexing solution, right?
Yeah.
Something we could all rely on. And again, build these composable, sub units of understanding on, above and below it, and therefore, we have this network of information.
Yeah.
When that when the result of that is
markets,
greatness, dude. Yeah. Whatever the
products.
That's right. Yeah.
Utility,
service.
Yeah.
All those fun terms, right? That get us away from the SEC's eyeballs.
Yeah.
You need all of that, dude.
Yeah.
So it starts at the information layer. So, I think this is going to be one of the most relevant thing to keep your eyes on over the next 2 to 6 weeks, I would say.
Yeah, super relevant for Bitmap, especially.
Right? So, I guess we'll keep talking about it, keep our eyes on it. If there are any updates, we'll definitely let you guys know. Yeah,
again, the links will be in the description. If you have any questions, if you found something that you guys wanted us to talk about, let us know in the comment section below. Follow us on Twitter at The Block Runner, at MetaZone.io, and at Rovi AI, and we'll catch you in the next video.
Peace.